I want to have more conversations about this, is there's a difference between being profitable and being wealthy. And I think we entrepreneurs miss that point.
Hi, I'm Michelle Bosch, real estate investor, mom, wife, and host of the InFlow podcast. And I'm passionate about helping women invest in land and apartments. Join me each and every week for real estate investing strategies and interviews with thought leaders that will leave you inspired and ready to step into flow for inflows of cash, inflows of ease, and inflows of grace in your life. Now, here on YouTube are the video versions of my podcast, and in order for you to get my latest information, please go ahead and subscribe. And now, let's go. Welcome to the InFlow podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Bosch. I am super excited to be with you guys today on another episode of InFlow. And today I have an amazing guest that I have been a secret admirer now for some time from afar. Her name is Barbara Huson. Barbara has been, is the leading authority in women when it comes to wealth, when it comes to power. She's a best-selling author. She's a therapist. She has a background in psychology and business. I mean, this all gives her like a unique perspective and makes her the foremost expert when it comes to empowering women to live up to their financial and personal potential. She's been on, Good Morning America, The View, Extra, O'Reilly Report, CNN, MSN, Fox News. I mean, you name it. She has been out there because she is the foremost authority when it comes, to this topic. And I couldn't be more honored to have you here with me today, Barbara. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I like I said, I've been your secret admirer from afar. I almost feel like, you and I have been together, because I've read your thoughts, through the book, The Sacred Success, which I know is not the only best-selling book. You have Prince Charming Isn't Coming, Secret of Six-Figure Women, Overcoming Under-Earning, Finding a Financial Advisor You Can Trust, Breaking Through, and so on. So all of them amazing, amazing books. And I how did you start? How did you land on becoming, the foremost expert for women when it comes to wealth and power? How did you grow up around money? How did that have anything to do with it? Tell us all about it.
It's a fluke. It's a total fluke, I tell you. So I was raised in a wealthy family. My father was the R of H&R Block, and the only advice he ever gave me about money was don't worry. And so I thought that was great advice. I didn't want to worry. I had money. I had an inheritance. I just wanted to spend it. And there was always a man to take care of me. I mean, that was the message I got. But it turned out my Prince Charming, the man I married, who was a stockbroker, turned out to be a compulsive gambler. And over the course, I stayed with him for 15 years, knowing he was gambling my money away. And I continued, this is the insane part, I continued to let him manage it because that's how stupid I felt and intimidated I was by anything financial. Finally, after our divorce, I decided I did not want, money was not my thing. I didn't want to deal with money. Well, I have this theory, you don't deal with money, your money will deal with you. And I got tax bills for over $1 million. I didn't have $1 million, not even close to it. My ex had left the country. My father wouldn't lend me the money. And that's when I knew I had to get smart. And so I started going to classes, reading books, and my eyes would glaze over. And finally, I was a journalist writing for the San Francisco Business Times. And I was hired for a project to interview women who were smart with money. And those interviews changed my life. I wrote my first book, Prince Charming Isn't Coming, How Women Get Smart About Money. And here I am. So I'll tell you, it's just funny where life takes you.
Yeah. And it comes from, from challenges and difficulties. Now, I know that, on Sacred Success, which is, the book that was given to me by, a mutual friend and mentor, and I incredibly resonated, not just with the steps, you describe a 4-step process, but you also talk about the power of, of achieving wealth and power by merging two things. And you talk about higher income with a higher calling, and and that's after overcoming under earning, you know? So can you elaborate what you mean by that? Because I find that incredibly, you know, deeply spiritual. There's a reverence that is being brought into the conversation, a sacredness that is being brought into the conversation when you think about it in that way.
So let me begin by saying there's 3 levels of financial development.
Yeah.
There's survival, stability, and affluence. Survival is not enough, stability is enough, and affluence is more than enough. To go from survival to stability, you have to have a profit motive. You love money. Money's a good thing. You want to make money. But to go from stability to affluence, yes, profit is the ultimate, is the desired outcome for sure. But it's no longer the primary goal. The primary goal is greatness.
Yes.
And I define greatness as that place, I paraphrase a quote by Fred Buchner, is that place where your deep gladness, doing what you were put on this earth to do, meets the world's deep hunger. And that is sacred success. And sacred success means pursuing your soul's purpose for your own bliss and the benefit of others while being richly rewarded. And it is having that purpose, that higher purpose, along with a profit motive that will get you through the toughest of times, the stickiest challenges. It will keep you going.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what? The very first thing as you were speaking, you know, is, you know, for so many, including myself, you know, I had a period of rediscovery, of trying to find out what my purpose was, you know, and it was a series of serendipitous events, you know, that, you know, brought me to where I am now. But for anyone that is starting, you know, that hears that whisper, that deep yearning, you know, and is starting to try to discover or rediscover, because at some point I think we knew it, and because we were in the pursuit of profit, we lost it. You know what I mean? How can you rediscover that purpose?
So Michelle, let me ask you, because I'm just dying to know, and I know this is your podcast, but I really want to know, what is your purpose?
My purpose is, I know that I'm here to be a catalyst for growth for people, especially for women, that I'm here to, you know, be an architect of visions of abundance for others. I love, you know, being always in a state of inspiration. And that's one of the core feelings that I'm going for and that I want to offer to others, because that has been instrumental in helping me not just, you know, have a forceful expansion when it comes to money, but think of any expansion and feel it, you know, as I'm going through that expansion in a much more harmonious way. I've been burnt out in the past, and I don't want other women to go through that as well. So I know that I'm, you know, that's what I'm here for.
And the purpose, finding your purpose, brings a passion, like you just showed us, that will keep you going past all kinds of hurdles. And that's why it's so important. So the question was, how do you find your purpose?
Yeah. If you're looking for it, if you think you know, but you cannot really crystallize it or clarify it, you know, what are some things that someone could do?
Look back when you were the happiest. Look back at when you were the happiest. And you will see there's a purpose need not be this global giant thing like world peace. Yeah. It could be something as simple as spreading love. I mean, just look at when you have been the most happiest. And that is where you will find your purpose and you will find your power. Look at when you have been the most unhappiest. And that is when you have given your power away and have not been following your purpose. Now, for me, I found my highest purpose in my deepest pain, which is often where you can find purpose.
A dark night of the soul.
Well, even more that, money has always been the source of pain and suffering for me until it wasn't. And just like you, I wanted to make sure no woman went through what I went through because she was ignorant and felt stupid and clumsy around money. And I know problems with money are never about money. They're always about power. And the reason I think women in particular have problems with money is their fear of or ambivalence about power. And my definition of a powerful woman is someone who knows who she is, who knows what she wants, and expresses that in the world unapologetically. And that's part, when we know who we are and we know who we want, and that's an ongoing thing. That doesn't happen. That's ongoing. That's where, in the deepest recesses of your soul, you will find your purpose, why you're here.
Oh, that is beautiful, beautiful. Now, with being powerful comes having to have courage, because I find that there's a lot of opportunity out there, Barbara, and our courage hasn't caught up with the opportunity to be powerful. Is that your experience a little bit as well? And it probably comes from this 40, this money thing being only about 40, 50 years old for women, and feeling ambivalent about money and so on and so forth. That we feel a little bit uncertain, that we equate uncertainty with something that is no bueno, when uncertainty can be, pregnant with potential when it comes to, going for certain opportunities, that can help you build wealth and money and power and so on and so forth. Don't you think?
So what's your question?
So my question is, do you think that, or how would a woman that doesn't feel as confident around money, or courageous about, taking certain investing opportunities, or how can, because there is the fact that you can go and get educated. Financial literacy, I mean, there's plenty of it out there, you know what I mean? But still, women are still abdicating certain decisions, to a husband. Like, for example, I fundraise for large apartments, and usually sometimes, ladies say, I'm so impressed with you, but at the end of the day, you need to talk to my husband, because my husband is the one that is going to, decide, whether we do this or not. Why do you think women are still so ambivalent? Why not, is it courage?
I remember when I wrote my first book. And my first book, Prince Charming Isn't Coming, has been out since 1997, and it's still selling.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing then, when I interviewed these women who were smart with money, that their process of becoming ignorant, uneducated to smart, I saw how afraid they were of their power. Yeah. And I remember interviewing a psychologist who specialized in money. And I said, why do you think women are so afraid of their power? And she said something that gave me chills. And she said, because powerful women have been burned at the stake.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It is in our collective unconscious for generations to hold back our power. Just like for men, it's to hold back their emotions. For us, it's to hold back our power. And power comes from doing what's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Doing what you fear. That is how you get confidence. That is how you get your power. Doing what you think you can't do. I ask under earners, when's the last time you did something you thought you couldn't do? And they'll scratch their head and they'll think. I ask high earners, and they say all the time. It's a way of life. There was what I call a high earner slogan. If it's not illegal or immoral, I just say yes. And the secret to going to the next level in your life, whether it's making money or losing weight, it's always doing what doesn't feel right, what feels uncomfortable, because success is always found just outside your comfort zone. So that's why I feel like for women, just to say, do what feels uncomfortable, for some of us, that's scary. It's very scary, no doubt. That's why it's important that we have support, that we have support from others. Because as someone I interviewed for my book, Secrets of Six-Figure Women Who Made Seven Figures, she said, success is a social activity. Mm-hmm. That's why I think it's so great you're doing this, Michelle, this education, because we women need support. And the more support we have for doing what we're uncomfortable to do, the quicker we will build our confidence and step fully into our power. Mm-hmm.
Totally. I mean, we've been just harping on this, not using these beautiful words that you just used, but talking about it in a similar fashion. Just over this week, as we were teaching 9th in class, and something right now came to mind. And right now, if somebody is trying to step out of the comfort zone, and we all are, because we're being required and we're being forced right now all of a sudden by an economic downturn, that has been brought upon by a sudden unexpected pandemic, for many. How can women navigate right now this current economic climate that we find, and do it with grace, but do it smartly as well, and in terms of being okay with being uncomfortable, because we all are right now. All entrepreneurs are right now. All investors are right now. There's people that have lost their shirts in the stock market right now. What are some things that we could,
Well, right now, this is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy, uncomfortable, painful gift. This is because all of us that's saying, slow down. Slow down. Take a look at what's going on inside that could be keeping you from owning your greatness, from fully stepping into your power.
Yeah.
And I believe during this time, this is how I'm using it. Whatever's coming up internally, whatever's bubbling up in the surface, whatever fear, whatever insecurity, whatever self-doubt is bubbling up, I want to take that and I want to run with it. And I want to see what it is, because whatever it is, this is what is stopping me. It has nothing to do with the economy is out there, but what the economy is forcing us to do is face our fears, to meet our demons.
Yeah.
And I believe this is a purifying and a cleansing process personally, so we can know what's coming next.
Yes. We have gone through a very cleansing experience in our company for sure, just, from this and in our psyche, and in, being fearful about taking certain decisions that we should have taken years before, but we never did, and all of a sudden you're like faced with this, new circumstance, and you're being forced into your greatness, because of the circumstance. So yeah, definitely totally with you in that, a gift for sure.
I think we're all at a choice point here. We are all at a choice point. We could go the old way,
mm-hmm.
and repeat the past, or we could go the new way and evolve and rewire for a new future.
Mm-hmm.
And
ooh, I got this. I love this. It gave me like chills.
Oh, good.
Rewire for a new future. I love that.
My next book, which is coming out in January, is called Rewire for Wealth.
Ooh.
And I brought in new neuroscience, because neuroscience, when combined with psychology, spirituality, and personal finance, can be very powerful, because it's not enough to change what we think. We have to change the way our brain is wired, because the brain is wired, and our brain's wired by our beliefs. And so we have to change those beliefs in order to change the wiring of our brain. And how our brain is wired is what causes us to behave in a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and continue like that, downward spiral, because of the old programming, and we need to figure out how to, instill a kind of like a new operating system, of beliefs and of connections that the brain is making. Yeah.
And the way you instill these new operating systems is to respond differently than you normally would. It's that difficult and that simple. And to keep responding differently over and over and over again, that's the choice point. Do you repeat or do you rewire? Do you have the same past and act habitually? Or do you, at a choice point, do you make a new choice to respond differently? That's very uncomfortable and very scary, but the reward at the end is your power, is your pleasure, and your prosperity. Woo, I just said that for the first time.
Yes, I can't wait. So the book is coming up in January?
January 12th.
Woo! Putting it on my list to buy. That I'm pretty sure it's going to be a bestseller too. Amazing. Now, has spirituality played a role in your life? And if so, how do you cultivate this faith, on a daily basis?
So religion has not played a part.
Yeah, the same for me.
Spirituality has played a huge part. And it took me 7 years to write Sacred Success, because I was terrified to be a financial expert and talk about the role that spirituality, that my relationship with the divine had on my financial success. Because I believe that financial success is not just a practical process. It is, but it's also a spiritual practice. And I believe it's a healing journey. And I believe it's not just having more money in the bank. It's who you have to become affluent. And that means owning your power, becoming all you are meant to be. And that's all, I believe, that's one of the things that this pandemic is an opportunity for us to really check in. Who am I? Who do I want to be? What is stopping me? What are those fears? And this is an opportunity for you to really step into your greatness. And I believe the world desperately needs empowered women and enlightened men to work together to heal this planet. And we will heal this planet as we heal ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to start with our own healing for sure. And I can see how, the hesitation and the, the concern, with you saying that it took you 7 years, I've always been in an environment that is very left brain, and that it's all about the profit, the results, the generation of a specific outcome. And then you come with this other more, softness and that spirituality inherently has, in it when it comes to money. And I remember being a little bit concerned about, oh my gosh, what are people gonna think? They're gonna, because I'm the CFO of my company. I am looking at P&Ls, and so on and so forth, and bottom line and metrics and so on and so forth. And incorporating that was a big, it was I needed help. I needed the support of others, you know what I mean, in order for me to not be shy and really unapologetically just express the connection that in private I could express to my closest people, but I wasn't brave enough to, talk about, out there like I do now. So yeah, I can totally see that.
But,
yeah.
So what allowed you to come out of your spiritual closet and just to be authentic?
I think for me, it was, you hit it on the spot earlier. You said, that success is a social thing. And for me, it was being surrounded by amazing other powerful women that had already stepped into that truth of who, they were and, and who they're here to serve. And just by demonstration, by seeing it, by being with them, you know what I mean? And watching them do it. And then me thinking, oh my gosh, they're no different than I am. They're not smarter, but they're freaking willing to stretch, to meet God halfway, you know what I mean? In terms of like really embodying that greatness. And so, yeah, it was just surrounding myself with a group of amazing women that really helped me kind of like come out of my turtle shell, if you would. I think that was part of it, and that those convictions, that truth was worth it, that it mattered, that it had a place in the world, you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. So I would say community for sure, of other amazing women that helped me. Now, if you could give a woman right now, 3 pieces of advice, Barbara, anything that you've already dropped incredible gems here, but just if we were to leave someone with 3 pieces of advice when it comes to money, power, wealth, what would those be?
So I'll tell you what I did to really get smart, and I continue to do to get even smarter about money.
Okay.
If you would do these 3 steps every day for 4 months, you would be amazed at how far you would come, because it's small steps consistently taken that lead to remarkable results. Mm-hmm. And this is particularly for getting smarter about money or any pieces of real estate, stocks, whatever you want to talk about. Every day, read something about money. Even if it's just for 1 minute or 2, even if you're just perusing the headlines of the business section of the paper, just every day, because so much of getting smarter is just familiarizing yourself with the jargon and with the current trends. So every day read, every week have a conversation about money with someone smarter than you. And I think it is our secrecy and silence as women that keeps us stuck. And so I started asking anyone, well, how did you get smart? What do you recommend I do? What do you recommend I read? What mistakes did you make? What were some of the smart things you did? We need to start talking about money. And then every week, save. Automatically have money set aside from your payroll check or your checking account to a savings account. Mm-hmm. And if you have, when you have an emergency savings of say 6 to 12 months of living expenses, then you can start dollar cost averaging, putting money every month into the market. So every day read, every week talk, every month save. Wow, it will change your life.
Yeah, and I love all three. Number two, I'm like conversations with women that are smarter than you, about finances. That is so important because it's not with everyone that you want to have a conversation. And, because you might end up homeless if you're having it with the wrong person. But
I want to say something that has become very pronounced to me. That I want to have more conversations about this. Is there's a difference between being profitable and being wealthy. Mm-hmm. And I think we entrepreneurs miss that point. We're so focused on being profitable that we stay on that hamster wheel without the freedom that wealth gives us. Yeah. So that's just what I wanted to say. That's become...
And that is a beautiful, ending point because, real estate is an amazing vehicle to, whether you can either create a job, because you keep on flipping, say, a house and you have no residual income and you're just producing profits, but not real passive, income for the future. Or you can use it as a vehicle to create passive income, and stop the grind of the flipping and the rehabbing and the constant churn and burn, and start parking that into a portfolio that you invest in for the long term, that you buy and hold, that is gonna give you, the passive cash flow, whether it be, we do it with land even, we sell our land, not just for profit, for cash, but we also use it, sell it using seller financing. And we become the bank. We offer mortgages now, and there's monthly payments coming in, every month from people that, their land payment and so on and so forth. But, that's just the beginning, and then eventually you want to start looking into other asset classes that can help you build that, that wealth so that you're not in this constant, churn and burn for sure. When your focus is only profit for sure. That's totally on board with that. That's, a gem for sure. And something else that came up right now, as you were also saying that, is that, a lot of women are given, I think, a lot of defensive advice. And a lot of the information out there is defensive type of information, when it comes to our money versus much more offensive kind of information. When I say offensive, not that you're out there offending someone, but where you're being much more proactive, you know what I mean? And so that all, wraps beautifully with your number two, which was having conversations with women that are smarter than you when it comes to finances, to being much more proactive versus defensive, and so on and so forth. So Barbara, thank you so much for being here with me today at InFlow. And if anyone wants to hear more about you, if anyone wants to get, oh my gosh, already on your list, to buy the book, or how can people reach you? How can, a woman that is, that resonates with you right now after hearing this interview and wants to connect, how can they reach out to you?
The best way is my website, and it's Barbara-Huson, Huson.com. Barbara-Huson, Huson.com.
So I totally butchered your last name when.
Totally did.
I should have asked. Okay, I have the excuse. I have the excuse. I'm not originally from the U.S., but still, I should have asked.
No, it's okay. Everybody butchers it.
So now I know. So thank you so much. It has been such an honor, such a pleasure. Like I said, it's been like a dream come true, to read about someone, to hear about someone, to be, someone that I highly respect, also talk so incredibly highly about you as well and respect you so much. Thank you so very much. It's been such a treat. Thank you so much.
Good luck to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and ready to get inflows of cash, inflows of light, and inflows of faith in your life. I welcome your reviews on iTunes. Please leave me a review and help me create an amazing community of women in flow. Thank you, as always, for sharing your voice by going to michellebosch.com and joining the conversation about this show. And while you're there, grab a copy of my 10 Commandments to Living a Life in Flow. You can also follow me on Facebook at Michelle Bosch and on Instagram at Michelle Bosch Official. Thank you very much, and until the next one.